Welcome to the tutorial video on acid-base titration. In this lab, you're going to study titrations, which is a way that we can measure out the value of pH where a reaction is totally completed. So if you're looking at acids and bases and neutralizing, if I have an acid and I start dropping base into it, after a little while, that base will completely neutralize the acid. And we call that point the end point of the titration. So you've got these little diagrams right here. You've got a picture of what the titration will look like. You've got a scale of pH here in the middle, and you've got a sample chart of what an endpoint graph looks like, pH over time. So let's go ahead and look at the guideline. This lab is going to deal with looking at the color changing because we have an indicator in the solution that'll show you if it's acidic or basic or neutral or what the pH value is based on the color of the solution. We used a universal indicator that changes color basically at every pH value, all the way from bright pink red sort of color at acidic down to a brown for basic. So the question is, how does the strength of a reagent in a titration affect the endpoint? So that endpoint reaction we see here, the strength of it, how vertical it is what we're going to be testing. So if we put a strong reagent in, is that endpoint going to be much steeper, much more vertical, much less steep, or will it not matter how strong the reactants are in the titration? Let's go ahead and just pick one of these at random. Okay, there I just showed you how that works. And let's look at what one of these reactions looks like. So if I press play, we're going to put a strong acid with a strong base. You notice there goes the indicator into solution. Okay, we're going to put the stirring bar in and start stirring it. And now the burette is poised up above that solution. So we can drop in the base into that acidic solution. And bam, we see that color change happen. Now notice here's our pH scale, 1 to 13. You can see the numbers 1 to 13 next to the color bar. And here you can see the color of the solution, which appears to be very, very bright pink, about a number 1 to start. So we're just going to keep clicking. And every time we click, a little bit of volume has been added in terms of microliters. Now, we've calibrated this because we didn't start at 0, right? If I did, it would take a lot longer and a lot more clicks. So we just kind of focus you in on the part where it reacts. Oh, look, the color changed. So let's go find that yellow sort of color. Oh, it changed again. Now it's sort of a brown color. Okay, now it gets to an even a darker brown. And that right there looks like the final curve that I've created. So this is a strong acid, strong base curve. We can now save that into our chart at the top here. If you don't like your points, you can always reset them. So go ahead and do all 8 different combinations of strong acid and strong base, weak acid, weak base, and vice versa, all of them combined. Once you're done, try to figure out if the reagent strength affects the sharpness of this endpoint in this lab about acid-base titration.